All right, welcome to the Select Board meeting of June 24th. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Recording in progress.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So thanks everybody for being here and those watching at home. We just want to let you know that this is a hybrid meeting, so we do have attendance by Zoom and in person. If anyone is on Zoom and they have a question, please put your question in the Q&A with your name and your address for our minutes, and Sean will monitor that and let us know. Our votes will have to be by roll call vote tonight because we do have some people on screen and here. And I just want to ask the Select Board to introduce themselves to ensure that we have a quorum.
J.D. Stebbins.
I'm Mark Lamb.
I'm Dottie Filgenetti.
I'm Craig Barger.
And Select Person Jennifer Stacy's not able to be here with us tonight. So we do have a quorum, and if you want to open with your people as well, Jen?
Sure. So in person, we have Jennifer Starr.
And Lauren Loomis.
And joining remotely, we have
Nancy DeLuca.
And I see Superintendent Cabral on camera, and then we have Town Administrator Connor Reed, Assistant Town Administrator Sean Dugan, and our exceptional Executive Assistant, Elizabeth Hegg. So we're going to jump right into this. Our first meeting, our first agenda item is a joint meeting with Easton School Committee to establish the committee and charge as voted by annual town meeting May 20th, 2024, promoting a sustainable Easton. We made an amendment to the fiscal 2025 operating budget from the May 20th, 2024 annual town meeting, tasked that a committee be established to be jointly appointed by the Select Board and the School Committee to review the town and school department staffing, programming, and overall operating positions, including a comparison to comparable communities, and making a report to the 2025 annual town meeting, along with any recommendations for any appropriate actions or remedial measures, all designed to facilitate the promotion of sustainable and quality services in the town of Easton. So we have in our packet a review with a draft charge. The school committee is here for the discussion as well. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we will vote on the charge. Once we do that, if we do vote affirmatively or with any edits or changes, the town administrator's office or the clerk's office will advertise the at-large vacancies immediately, with the goal of holding a successor joint meeting of the board and the committee to interview and appoint residents in early July. Given the scale of the committee's task, it would be ideal to have it fully appointed and meeting before the summer closes. I said early July, I just threw in early. That's not what it said, it just said July. So we are trying to hope, we really want to get that going. As everybody knows, the budget was, it was a real challenge this year. It's going to be even more challenging next year. So the more that we can get people involved and start to, put together this task force per se, I think it will be better for us so that it's not all crammed in together in one period. Mm-hmm. So has everybody had a chance to look at the charge?
yes.
Any comments or questions or?
None from me.
I think one of the things that's worth noting that people are interested in is it should be comprised of no fewer than 13 full members with 2 alternates. That doesn't mean that people can't go. I don't know what we have to do to beg people to come to the meetings, but maybe we could make them a little bit rowdy so that people will be excited to attend. But I think that this is probably going to be the most important thing on our plates next year, and I really think that we should do the best we can to do outreach to get people to come, even if they're not a voting member on the committee. That doesn't mean that they can't contribute. Mm-hmm. And the more people and the more diversity that we have of people in their ages, their backgrounds, their experiences, the better I think it will be. So the charge says that the following seats will be available, appointment: the chair of the select board, chair of the school committee, chair of the finance committee, town administrator, superintendent of schools, the town of Easton finance director, the finance director of the Easton Public Schools, 2 members of the Easton Educators Association to be appointed by the union, 4 residents at large to be appointed by the select board and school committee, and 2 resident alternates to be appointed by the select board and school committee. That doesn't preclude having 2 members of the union, and if there's other residents, even if they're in the union, you could have 2 members of acting as residents as well. So we really hope to get some educators to be here to help us through this as well. As you know, we said at town meeting, we are very fluent in the budget. We're looking at it all year. We're experts in the budget, if you will. Certainly our town administrator, superintendent of schools, and our finance directors on both sides are really the experts. But I would hesitate to not mention that we have a budget subcommittee, that we have school committee members and select board members on. So I would say that we do have a lot of expertise across the board on both sides of the committees. Connor, do you have anything to add, or?
No, I guess I would just encourage anyone on the select board or the school committee, if there are any questions about the charge or particularly the timeline. You are all familiar with the budget cycle that we're on, so you can see this is pretty aggressive, but kind of has to be if we're going to be in a position with this group to have any really actionable information in time for the budget cycle next spring. The budget usually comes together and is balanced in April, and that's also usually when the pressure points really start being more obvious to the public, although, you know, we, myself, the superintendent, our staff, and these committees speak about them, I think, quite frankly, usually right out of the gate, starting in January, February. It's usually around that April period where folks start engaging, and so, you know, for my piece here, I do think it's important that we stick to a timeline as laid out in this document, and we try to just kind of break it up into chunks of, I think the most important piece with any group this large is making sure that we're all establishing and working from a consensus baseline reality. What kind of documents are we working with? What are the parameters, legal or otherwise, that we have to work with? What can we do? What can't we do? So that we can try to focus our efforts and be as efficient as we can be, because it's going to be a lot of work. It's important work, but and I'm not trying to scare anyone away. The chairs have no choice, you're on it by charge.
If it was easy work, we wouldn't need the committee. Dr. Cabral, do you have anything that you want to add or comment?
I don't. We're very much on the same timeline. And so I know that this is very robust. And as Connor noted, it really has to be. And so I would encourage as many people as possible to get involved. We may not start talking about actual numbers for next year until January, but especially if people do not have a lot of experience in the budget, there's a lot of catching up to do and some background information that we're going to want to provide and that we're going to want to know what their questions are. So the sooner we can start, the better.
Excellent. Nancy, I don't want to forget about you. Do you have anything that you want to say or question?
Nope. I like the charge, and I hope we can all work together to get to a common place that's good for our kids.
Excellent.
Was there, so I know, obviously I was at the town meeting when the motion was amended to explicitly include EEA members. Has there been any feedback from the other unions in town about representation for them? Just curious if that has come up at all.
It hasn't, but as Dottie alluded to, a lot of our employees thankfully live in town, and so as residents, they would certainly be able to volunteer for consideration by the school committee and the select board for appointment.
Okay. And
I think the way that the breakout is, 65% of the budget is the schools, and I think that that's really like where the focus is going to be. You know, the town side, anybody's welcome to come to the meetings as well, but I think the real focus is to really try to see what we can do with the biggest part of the budget, right? It doesn't mean that we're not looking at the town side by any means, but there's more interest, I think, on the school side.
Yep. Go ahead.
And the 2 members of the union do not need to be Easton residents, correct?
Correct.
Great question. Does serving on another board or committee in town preclude somebody from qualifying for one of the resident or alternate positions? So for example, if somebody were on audit committee or historical committee or, you know, any of that?
Nope.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions from the board? So at the risk of not having excessive meetings on the same subject, is there an opportunity to pause the budget subcommittee and supersede it with this? Or,
I think so. We'll speak with the chair, but I think that that makes a lot of sense because there's going to be a lot of overlap of those two committees. And so I think we'll still probably have budget subcommittee check in during the budget cycle, but yes, I could see that. Because I think this committee is going to have to meet at minimum monthly.
Yeah.
And I could see at least the first handful of meetings being quite long.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I just don't want to burn everybody out. And tonight, while we're looking at the appointments to boards and committees, and especially the ones that the select board serves on, many of us multiple committees, I'm not trying to, make it more burdensome when we're really talking about kind of the same thing. Okay, excellent. All right, well, so we do this vote, the select board and the school committee together?
The school committee are willing, I would just ask for a motion to adopt the charge as presented. And then, as you noted, administratively, we will reach out to the community starting this week and start soliciting those 4 to 6, depending on how you'd like to count. Citizen members and our staff are working together already to try to find a date in July where the two boards are available, either at an existing meeting date or if we have to do a one-off just for interviews and appointments, depending on the level of interest, we could do that too.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So motion to accept the Promoting Sustainable Easton PACE Committee charge.
Second, Lamb.
So that's Bodger and Lamb. I'll start with the school committee for the voting.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
All right. Jamie?
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
Okay, so it's unanimous. We're off to a great start. All right, thank you so much. And Wendy, thank you, and Andrea for being here tonight. Thank you. All right, have a good night.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Tom.
All right, is it 6:16? We are right on time. So our timed timed agenda item is for a public hearing for the renewal of cable television and license with Verizon New England. Craig, if you want to read the notice.
Yes, I will. The Select Board of the Town of Easton, as the cable television licensing authority for the town, will hold a public hearing on Monday, June 24th, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. regarding a renewal cable television license for Verizon New England Incorporated. The hearing will be held in the Corona Boardroom, Easton Town Offices, 136 Elm Street, Easton, Mass., and will be available remotely for participation and/or viewing via the Zoom platform. Zoom information will be available on the posted agenda for the Select Board meeting. Any questions shall be directed to the Town Administrator's Office at ehag@easton.ma.us or by calling 508-230-0513. The hearing is being held pursuant to Massachusetts Cable Law, Chapter 166A, Section 13 of the General Laws, and the Cable License Renewal Regulation 207 CMR 3.05, Section 626H of the Cable Act, 47 U.S.C. Section 546H, and the other applicable cable television renewal license laws, regulations, or requirements regarding the renewal of the cable television license. Any applications, reports, statements, and/or amendments, including a copy of the renewal license as proposed at the time, will be available for review and/or download and for reproduction at a reasonable fee for a paper copy from the Town Administrator's Office. Those who cannot attend and wish to commit written testimony for the record may do so by sending an email with the subject public hearing Verizon license to sdugan@easton.ma.us. If the testimony is not received by 10 a.m. the day of the hearing, the board may not have sufficient time to consider it. Written testimony shall include your full name and address. Anonymous written comments may not be accorded the same weight as testimony from identifiable sources.
Excellent. Connor, do you want to lead us in this? Or?
Sure, I think Attorney Solomon has just joined, but as
Oh,
the
great.
board may recall, I don't think his camera's on yet, he'll join us shortly. As the board may recall, one of the many licenses that you administer is a cable license with cable providers, both Comcast and Verizon. The board last renewed these licenses 5 years ago already in 2019. Comcast for a 10-year term, Verizon for a 5-year term. So we're reaching the end of Verizon's 5-year term. The Cable Advisory Committee that you appoint kind of keeps tabs on these licenses and compliance with the license. The licenses are a document between the cable providers and the select board, but they're very important to ECAT because they create the revenue stream, which is transferred through the town that allows for ECAT to exist and to cover public meetings, educational meetings, governmental meetings, things of that nature. And so back in 2022, the Cable Advisory Committee, guided by Special Counsel Solomon, who the board appointed years back and is an expert in this field, opened up what's called the ascertainment process. It's a formal hearing where they take comment on the Verizon service in town. That then informs my office, Special Counsel Solomon, and the chair of Cable Advisory, Stu Schoenfeld, who's also works in the PEG industry and helped negotiate the last round of licenses. And so we've been working, and credit where it's due, Attorney Solomon's been doing a lot of it, interfacing with counsel for Verizon to bring a successor 5-year license forward to the select board for your consideration tonight. There is thankfully a helpful 3-page summary in your packet. The full 34-page document is also available, but I'm happy to take any questions from here, or more likely transfer them to Attorney Solomon if the board has any questions. I think the finances are usually what people are interested in, and it's worth noting that a major milestone we reached in the last round of negotiations was moving PEG access support from 4% to 5% of gross revenue for those cable fees, which is basically a 25% increase to revenue that we could transfer to ECAT, and the PEG capital, which despite the number of subscribers to Verizon in Easton declining, the capital payment is commensurate with the last license, and it is paid sooner in the license, which particularly in an inflationary environment gives you some good time value there. So I think it's a good license. I recommend it. Chair Schoenfeld recommends it, and Attorney Solomon can answer any questions.
All right. Thank you for being here tonight, Attorney Solomon. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here again. Appreciate it.
Does the board have any questions specifically?
No, I don't have any. No.
So I will say that I remember when you were here the last time, you did a great job negotiating, and there was a lot of negotiating to be done, and I feel like you set the precedent for a lot of the other towns around us also. I know that you work with several communities, and you're really the expert in this that understands all the nuances, especially with the changes of streaming, being introduced into the local cable world.
Thank you, and that's exactly right. It's a trickier environment, and I'm pleased to say, again, working with the teams, Stu and Connor, that we again, address to the greatest extent possible some of the potential loopholes and pitfalls that could occur if we weren't very careful to make sure that the town, to the best of our ability, gets the deal that it thinks it makes. And as I always say, that's particularly with respect to things like the definition of gross revenue and making sure that that the funding, as Connor said, comes early in the license. And here, all the PEG capital funding, which is 5 years worth, comes in the first 2 years.
That's great. Well, I do think it's worth noting that that the town administrator sent this information also to Kim Pincus, the executive director of Easton Cable Community Access Television, ECAT, so that they are aware of it as well. It is the select board's job to do that negotiation and working with the local cable advisory committee. So I just want to thank Stuart Schoenfeld for his great deal of time that he spent, and his expertise as well, and with Connor. It really helps us make a good decision when we know that experts are looking at this. So with that said, are we looking for a motion to?
There is a specific motion proposed by Council Solomon that is in your packet.
And I think we might have asked if there's any member of the public has any question or input.
Craig, do you see the motion?
Yeah, I see it. I hereby move that the select board, as cable television license issuing authority, vote as follows. To grant a cable television renewal license with an effective date of September 1st, 2024 to Verizon New England Incorporated. All terms and conditions contained in the renewal license have been agreed upon by Verizon. Verizon, by and through its authorized representative, will execute the renewal license, the agreement as set out on the signature page of the license as assigned by the council, consistent herewith.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb, and we'll do a roll call vote.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
Well, that was easy. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much. Again, a great team, and it's your team that really makes sure that we all push this together for a Verizon license. This is an exceptionally early license renewal, the license being, as you noted, September. And that's to the great benefit of the town, and I really attribute the work of Connor and Stu to getting this done in such an expeditious manner. So thank you, and it's great working with the town again. I appreciate it.
Well, I was going to say we'll see you in 5 years, but we'll probably see you before that because of Comcast.
Maybe
right?
sooner, yeah. Hopefully so. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Bye-bye. Thank you
Bye.
for kindness.
All right. Next, our next one is at 7 o'clock for the board and committee volunteers. So let's try to get some of the,
Yes, you have a bunch of contracts.
Yeah, the
for sure,
contracts
starting
out of the way
with item
first.
4.
So item 4 is discussion and vote, POL 2025-01 for Stryker Medical for automatic external defibrillators.
Sure, thank you, Dottie. In the approved capital budget for fiscal 25, there was funding for the police department to purchase new AEDs, which will be installed in police department vehicles. Police are often the first responders on scene. They're trained in first aid and life-saving techniques, and so having up-to-date AEDs in those vehicles is critically important. So there is a contract in your packet for $49,455, which is consistent with the capital appropriation. It's recommended by Chief Boone, and I concur.
Any comments or questions?
Quick question. So they never had these in the cruises before?
They have. These are replacements.
These are replacements.
Yes.
You may have said that. Okay. Great. Fantastic.
Well, money well spent. All right, can I get a motion?
Move to approve POL 2025-01 Stryker Medical Automated External Defibrillators, total amount of $49,455.04.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
All right. Next, discussion and vote DPW 2023-24 extension, Weston and Sampson for the North Easton Village wastewater treatment plant operations and maintenance.
Sure, thank you, Dottie. As the board may be aware, we rely on a contract with Weston and Sampson for the O&M of our wastewater treatment plant at Shovelworks site for the Northeastern Village sewer, as well as the school wastewater treatment plant. This would be a one-year extension through June of 2025. Just for a board's recollection, the last contract that this is extending without an adjustment in the terms for price is $115,800 annually, which would be funded out of the Sewer Enterprise Fund. Director Field recommends approval, and so do I.
Okay. There is a shortage of O&M wastewater treatment operators, so it's good that we do have an agency like this that we can lean on.
Correct.
All right. Can I get a motion?
I move to appoint DPW 2023-24 extension, Weston and Sampson Northeastern Village wastewater treatment plant operation and maintenance, $115,800.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
All right. Discussion and vote for HCS 2024-16, McGovern Auto Group for a Ford Maverick XL Hybrid.
So again, these are purchases that were funded in previous town meetings capital budgets. This contract will allow the Department of Health and Community Services to purchase an inspectional vehicle to replace a 2012 Chevy Colorado, which is nearing the end of its useful life. This vehicle will be the second Ford Maverick XL Hybrid purchased by the department. They reduce fuel consumption by about 20% over the vehicles that they're replacing. And we view this as kind of a transition step towards EV fleet vehicles for some of the lighter use inspectional services. We would have gone EV if there wasn't a multi-year wait time, but this is still a step in the right direction at a pretty good price if you've had to buy a car recently. So $30,570.75, I recommend approval.
I think it's great. It brings us a little bit closer, all these little baby steps closer to meeting our climate and energy goals.
Yes, exactly.
All right, can I get a motion?
Approve HCS 2024-16 McGovern Auto Group Ford Maverick XL Hybrid, the amount of $30,570.75.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
Excellent. Discussion and vote, HCS 2025-01, Christina Flanagan Incorporated, Public Health and Nursing Services.
Sure, thank you, Dottie. For many years, the town has maintained a contract with Christina Flanagan for nursing services consistent with the recommended practices of the Department of Public Health and responsibilities directed by health statutes in Massachusetts. The contract in front of you tonight would continue providing public health-related nursing services using Ms. Flanagan as a contractual nurse. This is a 3-year contract for up to $20,000 per year. Funds which would come from the operating budget of Health and Community Services. Some of the hands-on tasks that we used to do with a visiting community nurse, a regional contract that we had, have shifted to the community paramedicine program that's run in-house by Board of Health and the fire department. But this contract provides a really important tool, particularly with communicable diseases, reportable disease instances where we need somebody with that RN following up sometimes over the course of many weeks. And so these services are still very important, and Director Kennedy and I both recommend approval.
Excellent. Any questions, comments? All right,
I move to approve HCS 2025-01 Christina Flanagan, Inc., Public Health Nursing Services, 3-year contract for up to $20,000 per year.
Second.
Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
Excellent. Discussion and vote, agreement for interface referral services with William James College.
Sure, thank you, Dottie. As the board likely recalls, Interface Referral Service is an initiative of William James College. The primary goal of Interface is to promote and facilitate access to outpatient mental health services for individuals within subscribing towns and cities who are residents of that community or students of a public school system. The referral service strives to break down the silos that exist between various agencies, mental health providers, and systems that often hinder access to mental health care and wellness service for individuals. Anyone who themselves or has had a loved one trying to find mental health care understands how hard it is to make sure you're getting connected up with the right kind of services or the right type of treatment in a place that's near you that your insurance covers, and just navigating that maze is a huge barrier for folks looking for that health care, and we want to reduce those barriers. And so that's why last year, working with the schools, we partnered with William James College to begin making that service available to our residents. That's done through a helpline that operates from 9 to 5 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 8 to 6 on Tuesday, Thursday. Anyone who lives in Easton, or any students who go to Easton, they get connected up with a resource and referral counselor that helps them navigate the challenges of finding those mental health services. Each caller is assigned a lead counselor who will provide matching and follow-up services, as well as provide them with resources about mental health and wellness. Really importantly, this service is completely confidential. The town doesn't get any information. We get anonymized demographic information so that we can understand better from a policy perspective if and where there are communities in town who are utilizing this service. But it's a confidential service for anyone who lives or studies in Easton, and it's free for the public. There's no cost for them. So it's something that we're pretty proud of. We put a link in the packet for a what to expect when you call page. I have to give credit where it's due to Easton Public Schools, Health and Community Services, Police, Fire Departments, because they were really pushing this partnership, and I think it's been a really valuable tool in our toolkit here in town. So we're seeking to renew this contract with William James College for 2 years, starting July 1st, 2024, through June 30th of 26. The costs associated with it are $23,000 in the first year, $30,500 in the second, and we expect to pay this with American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Okay. Do they give you the call volume, or is there a way to capture
Yes,
the
they do.
effectiveness?
Yes. And
That's great.
that helps us understand if we need to be doing more advertising, whether that's through like direct outreach or through pamphlets and things of that nature.
That would be worthwhile to put in a bill,
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right. Any comments, questions?
I think it's a great thing, and I move to approve the agreement for interfaith referral services, William James College, for 2 years effective July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. As Connor indicated, the contract for $23,000 in fiscal year 25 and $30,500 for fiscal year 26.
Second.
Bodger and Lamb?
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
All right. Discussion and vote solicitation for letters of interest regarding 388 Depot Street, which is the center school property.
Thank you, Dottie. As the board is aware, in November of 2022, town meeting authorized the board to dispose of the former center school site via sale with an amendment from the floor that added a condition that the town has to first separate Yardley Rink into its own discrete parcel to remain owned by the town. The rink has historically, I think as the board is aware, been on a single parcel with the school. We have since performed the necessary engineering and permitting and gone to the planning board to separate Yardley Rink into its own discrete town-owned parcel, which will remain owned by the town. As we were working to start preparing the site for sale, thinking about the complexity of that process, as the board is aware, having successfully gone through an RFP and sale process for Monroe Hall back in 2023. The time and resource commitment for doing a full RFP process is very substantial. And so I felt that it would be best in order to provide the board and community with as much information possible about prospective purchasers for this property in the market who may be interested in a possible recreational or community center type reuse, which is what we had expressed to voters our intent was, our desire was. I recommend that the board, rather than going to the full RFP process, first vote to issue a request for letters of interest, a draft of which is in your packet. The specifics and volume of responses or lack of responses, I think, will give us collectively important information about where the market is, because obviously things have changed quite a bit since November of 2022 when this was initially approved to begin that process. And that will help us craft the most successful eventual RFP for the full procurement process and hopefully improve its odds of success for the benefit of the public. The responses are informational. They're not binding or contractual, so they don't bind the town or any respondent who says that they may be interested for a certain type of use to any real property transaction, so there's no downside. So I would recommend approval of the RLI in your packet.
I think that's a really good idea because there might be things that we haven't really even thought of yet. And I feel like sometimes when you put out, an RFP or an RFQ, people feel kind of boxed into. We have to really be kind of more specific about what we're looking for. Maybe there's a great idea out there that we don't know about. So
I agree. What are you looking at for dates?
So if it's approved tonight, it will be issued by Wednesday, and it will be published in area newspapers, sent to, I believe, relevant real estate groups, and also through the state's clearinghouse for procurement, so through Combis and Central Register. And the responses would be requested. We're only asking for basically 3-page memos that outline the nature of your entity, what kind of thing you're thinking within the framework of community or recreational space. We're asking for those by Friday, July 19th.
Fantastic. Great.
all right. Any other comments, questions? Craig?
I move to issue letters of interest regarding 388 Center Street, Center School property.
Second.
Is that?
Sorry, it was 388 Depot.
I'm sorry, 380, it says Center Street, that's why I was. Depot.
Yeah, it says 388 center
Okay.
in the packet, yeah.
Oh.
But it's Depot, okay, I'll do it
In
again.
the town administrator notes, I apologize for that.
Move to issue letters of interest regarding 388 Depot Street, which is the old Center School property.
Second. Lamb.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
Excellent. All right. The annual board and committee volunteer appointments for uncontested. So we break those out into contested and uncontested. We have a slate in front of us.
You do. I would just ask for the board's attention. There's a flagged document in front of you. There was 3 or 4 terms. All the committee names and the applicant names that were on the agenda were correct. but a handful of the term expirations. So for Library Board of Directors, Planning and Zoning Board, and the ZBA, there was a typo on those years. That's been corrected. It's in the amended document that's flagged for you, highlighted in yellow. So if the board does consider a slate, I would just ask that you do it referencing the amended slate.
Okay, and then originally, we thought that the Affordable Housing Trust was going to be contested. One of the current members had sent in their resignation, so that opened up a seat. So now all three that had applied for that, 2 incumbents and 1 new person, they can all be appointed.
That's correct.
So, okay. So looking at the slate, I'm just going to run through because I think I'm not going to name all the names, but because they are in the packet. But I will say the committees because I think people should be impressed by the number of committees we have. The Affordable Housing Trust, the Agricultural Commission, Audit Committee, Cable Advisory Committee, Cemetery Commission, Commission on Disabilities, Community Preservation Committee, Council on Aging, Cultural Council, Easton Shoveltown Cultural District Management Partnership Team, Economic Development Council, Environmental Stewardship Committee, Historic Commission, Human Resources Board, Human Rights Committee, Library Board of Directors, Municipal Building Committee, Planning and Zoning Board, Public Spaces Committee, Recreation Commission, Swifts Park Steering Committee, Taxation Aid Committee, and Zoning Board of Appeals. And I will note that looking through this list, there are vacancies on some of these. So the Economic Development Council didn't have any applicants. The Human Resources Board didn't have any, and the Taxation Aid Committee. And then there's still some open seats for Public Spaces Committee, the Recreation Commission, Swifts Park Steering Committee. So I'd ask people to take a look at this, go back on the town's website under volunteer positions. You'll see specifically what is vacant. It will be easier than looking at this long list after we vote on these tonight. And I'd encourage people, if you don't want to do it, reach out to one of your friends or somebody that you know in the community that you think would be a good fit for any of these. So with that, I would take a motion to approve the slate for uncontested volunteer seats as noted with the amendments or adjustments in some of the term lengths for typographical errors and the Affordable Housing Trust.
I move to appoint all uncontested volunteers for terms as prescribed to each committee as listed in the amended slate.
Second, Lamb.
That's Barger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
I think we're slate.
Stebbins, slate.
Lamb slate.
Full Genetti slate.
Barger slate.
All right, excellent. The next is the annual reappointment of constables.
Sure, thank you, Dottie. Attached to your packet, you have applications from James Hartford, David Martell, Matthew Polakis Sr. and Jr., and William Sharnick for reappointment as constables. They currently serve in Easton as constables with terms set to expire at the end of this week. They're seeking an additional term of 3 years. All applicants have been reviewed by both the Chief of Police and the Treasurer Collector who have no concerns with their reappointment. And so we recommend the board vote to reappoint the aforenamed constables with a term to expire on June 30th, 2027, with a condition they provide updated bonds to the Collector Treasurer's office. You could make this appointment, if you wish, as a slate.
Any comments, questions? We haven't heard any complaints about them, so they must be doing a good job.
Must be. I move to reappoint the slate of constables with an expiration date of June 30th, 2027.
Second, Lamb.
So that's Barger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb slate.
Slate, again, yes.
Full
Stebbins,
Genetti,
slate.
Lamb slate.
full Genetti slate.
Barger slate.
All right, excellent. So it's unanimous. The next one is the discussion and vote for board appointments of select board members to representative committees. So as a lot of people know, the select board does more than just come to these select board meetings every other week. We serve on a lot of other boards and committees and even attend a lot of meetings that we don't serve on as the select board representative. We think it is important to have select board representatives for these, and we really care that people are matching their expertise and their passion with the nature of these committees. I think we've done a really good job so far. So I think I'm just going to go through the list and try to remember who's the representative on each one. And And if Jen's not here, we'll give her whatever anybody can't support, right? Just kidding. So she is the representative on the Affordable Housing Trust. I know she cares a lot about that, and she's been doing a really great job on that. So I'd entertain a motion if somebody wanted, unless somebody wants to contest that, that we reappoint her.
I move to appoint Jen Stacy to the Affordable Housing Trust.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins Stacy.
Lamb Stacy.
Full Janetti Stacy.
Barger Stacy.
All right, the next one is the Age Friendly Advisory Committee. I've been serving on that one. If anybody else wants to take that, they're welcome to do
I
that.
move to appoint Dottie Fulgenetti to the Age Friendly Advisory Committee.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins Fulgenetti.
Lamb Fulgenetti.
Full Janetti.
Barger Fulgenetti.
All right, the Audit Committee. Is that you, Mark?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right,
I move to appoint Mark Lamb to the Audit Committee.
Second.
so that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins Lamb.
Lamb.
Full Janetti Lamb.
Barger Lamb.
All right, Budget Subcommittee. Is that you and Jen? Do you still want to do that? It's going to be taking like kind of a lesser role,
Even better.
probably. All right, so Stebbins and Stacy.
I move to appoint Jamie Stebbins and Jen Stacy to the Budget Subcommittee.
Second. Lamb.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
That be Slate.
Sure.
Stebbins Slate.
Lamb Slate.
Full Janetti Slate.
Barger Slate.
Okay, Economic Development Committee. There's two, and it's Mark and Craig.
Yep, I'll keep that.
Got it. Move to appoint Mark Lamb and Craig Barger to the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins Slate.
Lamb Slate.
Full Janetti Slate.
Barger Slate.
All right, Environmental Stewardship Committee. That's one person. I think that's the one that Jen was.
Currently me.
Say that again.
It's currently me.
Oh, it's currently you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, is that that was the Green Communities? Okay, I was confusing it with the climate one.
So if there is anyone, so just Christine Redford and that team has done an amazing job. They're about to put the new some things in front of Connor and Sean here in the next week or so. A lot of work that's been done in the last year, so they're fantastic. If anyone's wants to, happy to relinquish, but also happy to stay on.
I think you've been doing a really great job on there, and I think once you have the momentum of that, and you really have worked very well in partnership with that committee to be able to move the charge forward, because, you know, technically the Green Communities was set up so that we could just get grants for being a green community, and it was mostly just the DPW would go for the grants, and we had this committee to kind of be part of it. But we've really expanded that, and we've expanded the charge to include really looking at, you know, climate and energy resources and conservation, and we've got a lot of great people on that committee. So I'm glad that you're a part of that.
Great.
I move to reappoint Jamie Stebbins to the Environmental Stewardship Committee.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins.
Lamb Stebbins.
Full Janetti Stebbins.
Barger Stebbins.
Excellent. Human Rights Committee. That is Craig.
I'd be delighted to serve again on the Human Rights Committee.
All right. Do you want to make that motion, Mark?
I'll make a motion to appoint Craig Barger to the Human Rights Committee.
I'll second that.
So that's Lamb and Bodger.
Stebbins Barger.
Lamb Barger.
Full Janetti Bodger.
Barger.
And the last one is Tricentennial Committee, and that is currently Mark.
It is currently me. I can honestly say my bandwidth is not, can't quite handle it. It's a non-voting member. I've only been able to participate in very few meetings. It's an incredible group, and they work really hard. They meet like every 2 weeks. It's quite an intense group. Yeah, Sean, you know that. So again, fantastic group, but I don't have the bandwidth for it
Okay.
at this point in my life.
Did you want? I'm working my way around.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I agree, they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, with my workload with work and with committees, there's no way that I can find a way to squeeze that one in either. Craig, it's all resting on you.
You could throw.
They left you for
Jen's
last.
not here.
No, I don't want. Jen's
I
already
know.
on a couple of committees, so I'll step up and do the Tricentennial Committee.
Well, thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
There's only like one more year left on it.
It's an important one.
Yeah, and I'm being cute because all these boards and committees are a lot of work, but it's very meaningful, and there's a lot of great things happening, a lot of super creative, passionate people. So I do want to make sure that I'm thanking them for their role as well. So I'll make a motion to appoint Craig to the Tricentennial Committee,
Second.
and Mark seconded it, so that's full Janetti and Lamb.
Stebbins Barger.
Lamb Barger.
Full Janetti Barger.
Roger, Roger.
All right, excellent. What time are we at? 6:49. Acceptance of the minutes of June 10th, 2024.
So moved, Roger.
Second. Lamb.
Barger and Lamb, all in favor? Or
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
full Janetti, yes?
Roger, yes.
Town administrator notes.
I have none prepared.
Assistant town administrator notes?
Sure. Just want to recognize Pride was a great event on the 15th. We thank DBW Police Fire and the Human Rights Committee for putting on a good event. Looking forward to next year already. And then also the Committee for Climate Action Planning held their first meeting last week. And our colleague Jen Stacy is serving as chair of that committee. So talking about people while they're not in the room. But that was a really great meeting. Most of the committee was able to make it, some weren't, but we were able to approve a RFP with comments from the committee, and we're going to be putting that out in the next month or so.
Oh, excellent.
Good job.
Good. All right. Any select board notes?
I was going to say nice things about the Pride, but Sean
I could say
already,
more nice things.
Sean already said that. So,
None.
Mark? Craig? Well, I'm going to repeat this every meeting through the summer. So the Shoveltown Cultural District has their summer concert series on Wednesdays, starting on July 10th with the Pickpockets. They do acoustic, country, and alternative. And then it ends on August 21st, and it's rounded up with 4 in a row with Homer Stevens. Follow us on social media. Follow us in the town crier. You'll see all of these. And then on September 22nd is the big grand finale. It's the end of Summerfest, where we actually close down the road around the Rockery area. We have several bands, food trucks, ice cream trucks. The artists will be out at the art gallery. We're going to have a lot of new things this year. It was really, really successful last year. I do want to thank our sponsors, Mass Cultural Council. We wouldn't be able to do this without their help, and the Easton Cultural Council, the Lions Club, the Grange Bank of Easton, Premier Properties, Hometown Auto, Jerry's Farm Stand, and there's one more that I can't read here. And the Shoveltown Brewery is there at all of these to be able to offer their beverages, and we have pizza and a lot of fun surprises through the time. So and I'd also like to really give a sincere shout out to ECAT, because they come to all of these. I see them dancing while they're recording them, and it's a lot of fun. And thank the committee, the cultural district members really roll up their sleeves and get this done. So hope to see people on Wednesdays starting on July 10th.
We'll just take a 5-minute recess before, because your next item is timed.
Yep. So we're going to take a 5-minute recess, and we're going to come back at 7 o'clock, and then we're going to start the contested interviews for town boards and committees. Be back in timed to start the interviews. So ECAT, we're ready to go when you are. Are you still on, Sean? All right, excellent. So as I told people that were here before, if you haven't interviewed before and you're not sure, we're going to ask. I'm going to go by the order in the agenda packet, starting with Conservation Commission, the Shoveltown Cultural District Management Partnership Team, and then finish it up with the Tricentennial Committee. We're going to ask people, when we call you by name, to either come and sit at the table, and the microphone's there, or if you prefer to stand, you can stand in front of the standing microphone. And we're just going to ask you for your name and a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the committee, and we're going to ask you to do it in 1 minute. It's going to be like speed dating. So we appreciate everybody being here tonight, and this is a really great crowd. We'd love to see new faces, and we love to see the people that have already invested time be back here again. I will say this again, just because we noted it before, while we were talking earlier, we had the uncontested that we voted as a slate. But even on those committees, there's still some vacancies. So after this is over tonight, if you don't get appointed, please go back and look at the volunteers and see if there's maybe a different opportunity that could be helpful. We love it when we have volunteers. This is one of the hardest things for us to do, is to, somebody is not going to get appointed. But these boards and committees, a lot of them, especially the Tricentennial Committee, all of them welcome additional people to come. So you can still go and contribute. I went to a lot of meetings before I was ever on this board, so many that people thought I was on boards and committees. And really, your voice is heard, and you do have an opportunity to shape the goals of that committee as well. So I'm going to start with the Conservation Commission. Is Nathan Crossman here? Okay.
On his meeting tonight, so he may be in a meeting.
Oh, okay.
'Cause he's the incumbent.
Okay, he's the incumbent. Phil Veschio?
Yes.
Phil, come on up.
How are we doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. So again, my name is Phil Veschio, or Philip Veschio. Either is fine with me. I have 9+ years of project management experience, 2 of which were with US Ecology, which is an environmental firm. I'm very familiar with filling out with SWIPs, wetlands permits, and other contributions to the environment. I really feel like I'd be a great choice to join the Conservation Commission, not only because of my professional life, but also personal life. I have always been a steward of the environment. Enjoy being outside and I love to preserve our local environment, especially for our generations to come.
Okay, so the Conservation Commission is a great committee. There's a lot of regulations and rules, and you have to really learn a lot on that commission. There's opportunities to get training in various ways.
Sure.
What we look for is somebody who can follow the rules, right? So we don't want somebody that's over here that says, we're never building anything in town again because I want to save every single species we have. And we don't want somebody over here that's going to say, we want to throw out all the rules and regulations and we want to just take over all the open space. So do you think that that's something that you would feel comfortable with, is
I do.
being in the middle?
I do. Again, as being a project manager, kind of with construction and environmental, there are lots of rules and regulations you have to follow as you're building things and also helping the environment. I know a good amount about the Massachusetts DEP laws and regulations, having working in that field for 2 years. Very familiar with that, and very adequate at following the rules.
Okay, great. So there's one seat available right now, but I will say that we did get a resignation on that committee. So there's going to be another seat opening up.
Sure.
Generally speaking, we oftentimes will reappoint the incumbent, especially if there's somebody that's doing a great job already, and especially on that committee, because it does take a while to get up to speed with that. So after somebody's invested the time. For that, I would say what I would like to do is to reappoint the incumbent, because he has been doing a good job, but I would love you to reapply if the board feels that way. We have to vote on it. Look for the upcoming vacancy, because it's a tough seat to fill.
Sure it is.
Does anybody feel differently than me?
No, I think that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would agree, and thank you for coming out and knowing with the pending or the resignation in the works that this is going to open up really quickly.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your time sitting in front of you tonight, and yeah, thank you so much. Looking forward to being back here again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, so Craig?
I move to reappoint Nathan Crossman to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term, June 30th, 2027.
Second, Lamb.
So that is Barger and Lamb.
Stebbins Crossman.
Lamb Crossman.
Full Genetti Crossman?
Barger Crossman.
All right, thank you. Next, for the Easton Shoveltown Cultural District Management Partnership Team, we have one seat available, and we have 2 applicants that are currently seated as alternates. So one of them wants the full-time seat, and then as a result, there'll be one alternate seat that will be advertised again. That will be one of the new vacancies. So the first, we have Fred Ames. If you want to come up, Fred. Hi, Fred. Thanks for being here.
Good to be here. Would you like me to just start?
Sure.
Okay. My background has been at the Oaks Ames Hall. I've been there since 1979. I've had 45 years in Easton working to preserve historic preservation, which is a large part of our local culture. I started a music series in 1998 with Joe Giordano, and we had 8 summer concerts, excuse me, eight concerts in the fall, spring, and summer. And that was about 4 years, so that was about 30 concerts right there. I was involved with production. Over the years, there have been at least 15 other concerts, we had that opera. I know some of you came to the opera at the hall. And then also, I've been very much involved with the Summer Music Series, which is hosted outside the Oaks Ames Hall. And what else? Oh, I put on 3 symposiums over the years, one on H.H. Richardson, one on Frederick Law Olmsted, and one on Oaks Ames. The one on H.H. Richardson, we co-published those talks with MIT Press, and it's now considered part of the research volumes for Richardson. And also with the one on Oaks, we had one speaker had won 2 Pulitzer Prizes, and another one had been nominated for 5. So always intent to really get the best and get the most, I think, publicity for Easton and the buildings. I was also involved in the fight, or excuse me, the argument about the library addition. That went on for 10 years. There were a handful of us at first, but we prevailed. If that had gone through, the Crescent Garden would have been a parking lot. So very happy that that was defeated. Also with the Shovel Works, I founded the Friends of the Shovel Works. We were able to raise $130,000 to help with the fight. And we were able to talk to Turner with the proponents when they didn't want to talk to anybody else. So we played one role. That was a very complex thing. The town did a lot, really, but we chipped in and did our bit. So, and I think that's about it.
All right. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you,
Yep.
Fred.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, and the next interview is with Mark Vinacore. Marky V, come on up.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mark.
How you guys doing? So, simply put, I just want to say that I love music and entertainment. My somewhat Easton claim to fame has been in starting the music series Easton Live, which started during the middle of the pandemic, broadcast by ECAT and from the Shoveltown Brewery. As a 3-year partnership team member, I've helped select bands for the summer concert series and have raised the bar for the 50-50 raffle to help support that series. My goal is to keep pushing forward with music events on a larger scale in Easton. Community is very important with different genres and collaborations. And I start to see this coming to fruition by working as a team and collaborative efforts with the partnership board. That's it. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much. All right. So I also am serving on the Cultural District Management Partnership team. So I have the opportunity to work with both Mark and Fred, and they're both excellent contributors. These are hard choices to be able to move this up, but I will say that the board pretty much unanimously agrees on all of the things that we do when we're picking the venues, the bands. It's very, very collaborative. And so where we can move one person into the permanent seat, I would recommend it be Mark Vinacore. And then Fred would still, if the board agreed, be on the alternate seat, be able to contribute as well. And then we will have one vacancy for the alternate seat. So any comments or questions?
I'll move to appoint Mark Vinacore to the Shoveltown Cultural District Management Partnership Team for a 3-year seat, effective June 30th, 2027.
Second.
So that's Bodger and Lamb,
Stebbins Vinacore.
Lamb Vinacore.
Fulgenetti Vinacore.
Bodger Vinacore.
All right, great. So you will get you'll have to reach out the clerk's office for everybody who gets these will have to be sworn in. So look for an email from the clerk's office. All right, next is the Tricentennial Committee. So we have,
Bobby, did the board reappoint
Fred as
Fred as
an
an
alternate.
oh, so
as
we
an
have to
alternate.
reappoint Fred as the alternate. I'm sorry about that,
So
missed that.
I move to appoint Fred Ames to the, one of the two alternate sites, positions, 1 year, with a termination date of June 30th, 2025.
Second, Lamb.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins Ames.
Lamb, Ames.
Full Janetti Ames.
Barger Ames.
Excellent. And Fred, you'll get an email from the clerk's office as well. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 people interviewing for 9 spots on the Tricentennial Committee. So I'm going to go in order that we have them here. It's all incumbents first, and then new people, the last 3 last. So we have Jeanette Camara. Jeanette, come on up.
My name is Jeanette Camara, and as Dottie stated, I am an incumbent on the committee. I've been the treasurer on the committee for a little over a year. My day job, I work at a bank. I'm the treasurer at the bank, and I also volunteer for the Friends of Borderland as the treasurer. So I somehow always get picked to be the money girl. But, the committee is great. It's fantastic. It's been a real fun learning experience being on the committee this last year, a little bit more than a year for me, and I'm excited to return.
Well, that's great. And the treasurer role is very important, especially in a committee like this that fundraises. And, you know, it's really important to make sure the money is properly accounted for.
Right.
And the town has to record and report all of that. So thank you for your service on that.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Next, we have Dave Clifton. Dave, come on up. Dave, thanks for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. I've had the honor and privilege of chairing the committee for the first 2 appointments. And I got to tell you, it's been a fantastic committee. Everybody has a responsibility, and here we are 6 months away from the celebration. My background and experience as a park and recreation leader for 40 years has been my experience in terms of planning celebrations and working with the community, people of all ages. But I got to tell you, the fun part is going to be the next 6 months as we plan and prepare for 2025. And I say to the board, even though you have more people than you need, I say we got plenty of room for all kinds of volunteers. And whoever doesn't get on it, I'm going to be calling them anyways, even if I'm not on it. The fact is that it's been a wonderful experience, and it's going to be exciting to be able to celebrate 300 years of activity. And I thank you, Elizabeth, for taking all my telephone calls, and of course, Sean as well. I got to tell you that it's not only a great experience for all the volunteers, the 10 that were appointed by the select board, but it's all the other volunteers. We have another 30 that come to our meetings, and we're going to have hundreds of volunteers before all is said and done, with 8 signature events. So we're excited about it. The money's coming in, the volunteers are coming forward, and I want the board to know that you can be very proud of the volunteers that took it this far. We have a long ways to go. This is probably my shortest speech I ever gave, but I know it's only a minute.
Well, I have a question for you.
Sure.
And you did a great job. So if people are watching this at home and they want to know more about the Tricentennial Committee, do you want to talk about the ways that you're doing your outreach to people?
Yes, we do a TV show once a month, and we'll be doing it right through 2025. We started back in early 2023. And even before then, when the board appointed the committee for the first time, it seemed like we were in a ditch trying to dig out to go where we wanted to go. I say to the folks out there, if you're interested in volunteering, contact any of the committee members. And I say that we have a webpage. We have telephone numbers that you can call. If you want to call Town Hall, they'll make sure they get in touch with us to get as many people involved as possible. This is going to be an exciting event for the entire community. It's not just fireworks going off, band concerts, barbecues, the picnic. There's a whole list of things, and I don't have the time to go through all that right now, but thank you so much for the
Thank you.
opportunity to speak before you. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. I'm just trying to, so the website is easton300.org. I want to make sure I had it right before I gave the wrong website. And you also have a Facebook page that people can look for the Tricentennial Committee on Facebook, right? Okay, and if people are watching this and we went too quickly, they can also email the select board and we can get in touch with the committee to let anybody know if they want to have a volunteer opportunity. So the next one is Michael Good. Michael, come on up.
I was going to stand, but I'll sit. I'm Michael Good. Thank you for your time. I've been on I grew up in Easton, recently moved back, well, 2020 is not recent, and then moving back, saw that there was a need for volunteers for the Tricentennial Committee, so volunteered. So I've had the honor of working with these fine folks for the last few years, and my application to reapply, so to speak, is just to see it through. We put a lot of work into it so far. I am the marketing and communications chair. So yes, we do have a website, and that is the URL. There is intake there. If you're looking to volunteer, you can just fill out an online form. We're also selling sponsorships for banners that are going to be on the telephone poles, so you can do that there as well. And then we're starting, as kind of we've formalized our signature events, that information's now kind of getting onto the site, so you know where to go, when to go. It seemed like it was an excessive amount of time to start the preparations, but now it feels like we're up against the clock with 6 months to go. So a learning experience, and the last thing I would say, it was just, it's been a great opportunity to kind of get more involved in the community instead of just going to events, to actually see the time and effort that goes into it. And it's definitely been a great experience, and probably, like to your point, you have other things that you're looking for volunteers, that I would definitely consider that in the future as well. So.
Great. So we're locking in some longtime volunteers even when this ends. You're
Depends
not
what
going
the
to go away.
opportunities are. Yes. Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Michael.
Mike.
All right. Dale Carister.
Hello, everybody. Dale Carister, and I'm going to say 21 South Street because I've participated in so many planning and zoning things that it's been drilled into me now. You can't speak until you've
Part of your
identified
name.
what your address is and so forth. So I think, as many of you know, I've been very active with a lot of community events through the years in Easton, including the Lions Club, including the creation of the Furnace Village Neighborhood Collaborative Group that worked very collaboratively with the town on the sewer project, and that we've kept active since in order to keep folks aware of upcoming planning and zoning or conservation or ZBA hearings. In addition, also serving on the SWIP Park Committee. As proud as I was to be appointed to the Tricentennial Board in the first place, I'm even prouder to serve on the committee under the stewardship of David, our esteemed leader, and the rest of the committee members. It's a real positive energy amongst the group, and we're all very excited about it. And I'm very much into, as Mark was saying earlier, community, and there's nothing that speaks more to the Easton community than the Tricentennial celebration. I also am interested in serving on it because I'm one of those people interested in seeing the charter over here. I think it's fascinating. 1725, 50 years before the Revolutionary War, this town was formed. And when I first moved to Easton, one of the first things I did was get the Reverend's Good book about the history of Easton, and actually read most of it. So I'm very excited and would look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve on the committee with these fine
Thanks,
folks
Dale.
over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Thank you.
All right. Joan Lundgren, come on up.
That's a tough act to follow. I have not read the book. Joan Lundgren, 20 Reynolds Street. I was not originally on the Tricentennial Committee. I was appointed, I took someone's place, but I really, really like it. And as everybody before me has said, you know, it's a great group. We're all working hard. I'm involved with one of the signature events along with Diane Lusardi, and that will be the Art Festival next April. So I'm very excited to involve other areas in the town in that day. I work at Oaks Ames Hall. I'm the rental agent. I do a lot of events, so I think I bring that experience to this, and I'd like to remain on the committee.
Great, thank you, Joan. Diane Lusardi. Hi, Diane.
Hi, all.
Hi, Diane.
Diane Lusardi, 5 Lamplighter Lane. I'm a resident of Easton for 52 years and have been involved in many organizations over the 52 years. Currently, I've been on the Tricentennial Committee since August of 2023. I am the secretary. It's a hard job. And I take notes, do the minutes, post the agendas, post the minutes. I monitor the P.O. Box 300, Easton 02334 P.O. Box, and I monitor the email address easton300.2025@gmail.com. And I'm working with Joan Lundgren as co-chair of the Arts Festival in April 26th. Roz Miller and I just completed the Easton 300 cookbook, which we will be ordering for print in August. And the committee is just super. It's we all work well together. We've got some good cookie bakers. They bring them at every meeting, and it's just been great. And I love being on the committee, and thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ken Michelle. Thanks for being here tonight, Ken.
Thanks for having me. I'm not sure a minute is long enough for me to offend everybody in the room, but I'll do my very best.
I thought you were going to start with a joke.
No, I'm being serious. I'm Ken Michael. I've been a resident of Easton since 1960. I'm a graduate of Oliver Ames High School, Stonehill College. I currently serve not only on the Tricentennial Committee for the historical side and business side, but I'm also the president of the Easton Historical Society, where I've been a member, officer, director since 1995. I've also been very active in Stonehill College. I just finished my second tour of duty as the chairman of the annual fund there. And on a personal side, I just moved my business right around the corner to 50 Oliver Street, which I promptly locked myself out of tonight. So, so I'm lucky to be here tonight. My role on the committee is essentially as a business liaison and somewhat of a utility player in the sense that I've been helping out with various events or fundraising and things of that nature. I also did participate, although not formally, but as a volunteer in the 275th anniversary of the town, so I had a little bit of experience coming into this. I was appointed to the committee in April of 2023, and as people have said before me, it's a great committee. It's a great bunch of people. I'm not going to say anything good about Dave Clifton, but I do think he's doing a great job as the chairman of the committee. And I would like to stay on the committee so that I can finish the job that's been started. Thank you very much for your time and for having me tonight.
Thanks,
Thank
Ken.
you.
We appreciate it. All right, Rosalind Miller. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Rosalind Miller. I haven't lived in town as long as they have, but I've been here 29 years. And I am the Assistant Secretary of the Tricentennial Committee. I am the Secretary of the Parade Committee. I co-chair the cookbook with Diane Lusardi. And I'm the treasurer of the Reunion Scholarship Committee of my class, where we give a scholarship every year. And I'm on the board of trustees on the Condo Association. I'm the secretary there. And I'd like to see this tricentennial through. It's been interesting learning, and it's been great working with all the people. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Nice to see you.
See you. Good to see you.
And next is Courtney Pupkin, but I don't see her here tonight, so she's not going to be. But Courtney was one of the first people, I think, appointed to this committee. And she's really got expertise in fundraising, a lot of connections like that. So I just want to throw that out on her behalf. Next, we have Joan Astor. Joan?
Good evening.
Hi, Joan.
Thanks for being here,
Thank you very
Joan.
much for having me. I will tell you very briefly that I am an Easton newbie.
We won't hold that against you.
Well, I'm learning very quickly. A new friend, Joan, introduced me to around a little bit, but I'll tell you very briefly that I am a professional volunteer. In my professional volunteerism, I became a leader because of my professional job. I did it for work also for 35 years. I'm a fundraiser. I am a fundraiser, I am an event planner, and that's what I have been doing in my adult life. I love it. I have volunteered for a women's organization for the last 40 years, and it's amazing. So I'm ready to move into a co-ed, no, I don't mean to be sexist, but I'm ready to move on and try some new things. I'm totally retired, and I'm bored. So I need something to do, and I'm honestly hoping that I can help out with the tricentennial. It's my strong point, it really is.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
So
Thank
for
you
full
very much.
disclosure, I got an email the morning after town meeting from Joan, and she said she wanted to talk so she could find out how she could get more involved in the town. And I wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing coming right from town meeting. We had a lovely conversation, and I connected her with Joan Lundgren, and I know that they've hit it off. And when you spoke about that, I was thinking, you know, there's lots of opportunities for this as well. So I'm glad that you're here tonight, Joan.
One way or another, I'll be involved in that tricentennial.
Thank you, Joan.
Next is David Boyd. Nope, no David Boyd. And then you must be Stephen Marsh. Come on up.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Steve. So yeah, I'm Steve Marsh. I live on 30 Seaver Street. I graduated Oliver Ames class of 2005. I'm a fourth generation Easton resident. In fact, the family house on Jenny Lynn Street has been in the family for all four of those generations. I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Boston University, class of 2009. Right now I'm a product manager, senior product manager at an engineering and manufacturing company in West Bridgewater called Double E. I'm also a small business owner. Seasonally, we do catering. I've actually worked with Joan at Oaks Ames before. As far as volunteer work, I'm a mechanical engineer mentor for the Oliver Ames robotics team.
Great.
Which is a great STEM program for the school and community. And then just beyond that, I'm super proud to be part of the Easton community. It's in my blood, and I do really love it here. And just in general for skills, mostly through the small business, good at balancing schedules, clients, logistics, and working through that way.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
So I jotted down a couple of notes while we were talking, and when I'm thinking about when we first put this committee together, we outreach a lot of times, especially when we're forming a new committee, and one of the groups. So we think about how the groups can collaborate, and you'll notice that there's more than one Lions member on there on the committee, and that was also intentional outreach because the Lions have great success at planning big events, getting all kinds of volunteers together. And Lee Williams was somebody who really, really cared about this celebration. He seeded it with some money, and it's kind of fitting that Lee was the chief recruiter for the Lions. And I always think about him when we're looking at this specifically. I think he would be delighted to see what this committee has done so far and what they have planned. So I just wanted to mention that. The collaboration, when people that are on the committee were talking about what they do, there's connections to the Historical Society, the Cultural District, Swifts Park, fundraising, treasurers. Everybody has a role, and an important role. There's been a little bit of turnover over the past, couple of years, and that's normal with any kind of a committee. People's lives change, their time requirements change, but they've always been able to be filled with somebody who fills that really important role. The 8 signature events that are coming up, watching those evolve from concept to where they are now has been really exciting. And I think this is just going to be such an amazing celebration for the town. And there's a strong connection with the cultural district also, and Joan brings that connection. I'm just calling you out specifically because the cultural district, is big event planners as well, and so that's just another board or committee that's connected. One of the other things that I wanted to mention that usually the committee members, especially Dave, comment on is that one of the intentions on this is to be able to involve the whole community. So there's things designed for families, for younger people, for older people. It's for across the age generations. We want everybody to feel welcome, invited, to be able to participate. A lot of these events will be free. Some of them will have a fee, but we're trying not to make it so that there's a barrier for anybody to join. So I'm just saying that on your behalf because that's what you've said to us before, and I think that's wonderful. Does anybody have anything else that they want to comment or?
I just want to thank Joan and Steve for being here, and obviously David, who's not here but is on this list. And thank you. You mentioned it running through your blood, and you're in the East tonight and 4th generation, and there's so much opportunity, as we heard, not only as an appointed member of this group, but then all the other opportunities, and then other boards and committees that we're excited when we have folks like you come out, and then opportunity to introduce and have a follow-up phone call maybe with Dottie about other opportunities if it's the incumbent slate tonight and you're looking for other opportunities to volunteer. So thank you for being here tonight. Thanks, Joan.
I'll speak on a little bit about this group of people. So they started in the beginning, and I think they've all mentioned it. They want to see it across the finish line. And it's an intense group. You guys work all the time. Like every 2 weeks, you have subgroups within your groups, within subgroups, within subgroups. And I mean, you see the emails coming through. This is the group that created this. This is the group that's doing all of this. I think it's only right that all of these people, all of these incumbents do this, continue through as a group, finish it as a group. They started as a group. They're obviously working fantastically well together as a group, and I think it's theirs. That's my opinion.
Craig?
I concur, absolutely. And just for people to know, I'm going to be the representative from the select board on the Tricentennial Committee going forward. So I just want you to know that. But I think you guys have done a fantastic job. And as Jamie said, Steve, there are plenty of opportunities. And Joan, there are plenty of other opportunities if you look down the list of openings that we have on committees. So thank you very much for coming forward.
Well, I would say that, the phrase, like, these people have invested in it, want to get it across the finish line, how could we say no, right? But that doesn't mean that the 3 people that are not incumbents can't go to every single meeting, participate in it, get on a subgroup. Joan, I think you've already started helping with some of the fundraising and events. So, all the big voting decisions have probably been made by now. It was really in the beginning, what are the signature events, things like that. So I hope the 3, if Craig makes a motion, I feel like where we're going is we're going to reappoint the incumbents, but I hope the other 3 will still get on this list and go to these meetings, participate, and bring their expertise, because everybody has strong expertise. And if they want to volunteer beyond that, I'd be happy to talk to, I've talked to Joan before, I'd be happy to talk to you, see if there's another committee that you want to do in addition to this, if you want to do something like that. But I really hope that you will participate in this. So Craig, do you want to make a motion?
I want to move to appoint the incumbents as a slate to the Tricentennial Committee.
Second, Lamb.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
7 Slate.
Lamb, Slate.
Full Janetti Slate.
Barger Slate.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Everyone that's just reappointed, you will be getting an email from the clerk's office. Make sure that you get sworn in right away, because you can't have meetings with a quorum if everyone's not sworn. If you don't have a quorum of sworn-in people, and also your first meeting after this will be to vote the chair and vice chair, your operating officers again, and you have to get that information to the town clerk's office. So I think that's all I need to remember on that. Anything that you can think of, Sean?
Joan, Mike.
So we have a meeting tomorrow, so does that, when does this run end?
June 30th.
You're good.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
One moment. There was a
Sean.
reminder on.
Ethics and open meeting law, the town clerk's office will remind them of those requirements. So there's an obligation to be up to date on your open meeting law and your ethics acknowledgements, and the town clerk's office, just to have that on your radar, that's an obligation as being part of the committee.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say to both of you, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., Oaks Ames Hall, 3 Barrows Street. We're having our meeting. If you want to come and see what we're doing and what we're talking about. It may take place there, but I just wanted to remind you.
And will there be cookies? All right. Well, thank you very much. And we're really excited to keep getting updates on the select board for the progress, and let us know if there's anything that we can do to help. Dave, I know I still owe you some time. I am definitely going to reach out to you, and we will get together. So thank you, everyone, for being here tonight.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And I don't think we missed anything on the agenda, right? So we're ready to adjourn?
Your final meeting of the fiscal year.
Final meeting of the fiscal year. My, how time flies. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Enjoy this beautiful summer weather. And thank you, ECAT, as always, for doing a great job being here to cover this for us.
So I move for adjournment.
Second, Lamb.
So that's Bodger and Lamb.
Stebbins, yes.
Lamb, yes.
Full Janetti, yes?
Barger, yes.
All right. Thanks, everyone. That's a wrap.